What's up, y'all? This is the Standout Podcast where everyone and anyone can be a standout. And today I have somebody that Don has spoke highly of. My cousin Nate has spoke highly of, and it's really a coming out year for her. Coming out like 2 years for you. I'm with Teja Cat right now. How you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. I wanted to know why your stage name is Teja Cat. Like, how did you come up with it?
So, Teja Cat is actually my Instagram handle. My artist name is Teja. My last name is Tejada.
Makes sense now. Okay, so that's why I wanted to know, because I was like I thought at first it was like some homage to Doja Cat. You know what I'm saying?
So I started listening to Doja Cat back in 2015 when she was like still kind of underground. So I made my Instagram handle Teja Cat, paying homage to her because I thought she was obviously brilliant, and now like we all know, like we see the brilliance. She is that. So that's how that started for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so definitely, Doja Cat was definitely a thing of reference. I also look back, you said something in the Margot's interview that like really intrigued me a lot. That when you started singing, that you were so like nervous to sing that you threw a sheet over you and told a friend.
Yes.
So just talk to me a little bit about that, like finally, because it seems like, you know, when I watched you at YTH Fest, I watched you at Hype Fest, it seemed like you had no problem with confidence at all. And then to hear that was like, what the fuck? So tell me how you've overcome this in these like last 2 years of you kind of coming up and stuff, like overcome this fear to sing in front of people and things like that.
Yeah. So it's funny because I was actually thinking about that today. I was like laughing about it because I'm still friends with that girl. Like she's one of my best friends. Yeah. And so it's been 26 years with her. Wow. Yeah. She's an OG. And then I started thinking, I was like, how did I get so it like is so much more fun than it is anxiety for me, to be honest. Yeah. I love to party.
Okay.
And I think when I go out, I kind of go out with intention, like I'm manifesting and I'm trying to network. I'm like manifesting fame. I'm trying to network with the right people. So when I go out, I happen to like kind of attract people. And so that kind of like cut all the walls down. So like I have to be good in any situation. If I really want to network, if I really want to do this, I have to like stop holding myself back. And I feel like it was hard. It was huge to overcome. But like, to be honest, I love to party. And like after doing that for a little bit and like going out with intention, it definitely switched up the vibe for sure.
Definitely. So, you know, in terms of partying, all that different type of stuff, I did listen to your music. Your first single, which we know that came out, Waste My Time. Yep. I thought it was something totally different. I thought it was about a guy wasting your time, but it's the inverse. It's about you talking about a guy wasting your time. And then I listened to the lyrics. And when I was watching the interviews, I was listening, and people are telling me to listen to it. I'm like, okay, she's probably talking some other shit. And then I hear some choke me this and do. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So tell me, you know, in terms of that song, has that song kind of helped you in a way, like performing that song and doing that type of stuff, and just helped you kind of excel with that, like just get away from that social anxiety? Because that song was like, man, like I never thought she was underconfident, like listen to this song.
Yeah, no. I was definitely in a mood when I wrote that song. I was in a mood when I wrote that song, for sure. But I wouldn't say like it fully represents me as an artist, but it definitely is something that like helps me on stage, like get them moving and grooving. And usually the crowd response to that one is pretty good. So like it definitely does help, for sure, that was a well-received first single, you know?
And because, well, when I listen to Sunday Morning and then I listen to Too Much, you know, it's kind of like you have a lot of layers to you. Mm-hmm. And then also finding out that you have, I think, inscription in a psych book, I think you had said in the Marcos interview, and I had looked it up. You have like a journal entry and stuff. So to me, it seems like you have a lot of things to you. So tell me, in terms of that, like in terms of your creativity and stuff, how that, you know, all comes together. Like what is it about you? Because not Waste My Time isn't just you. There's a lot of layers to you. So just talk about that.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I've had to come to terms with the fact that I am an emotional fucking person. And I've always really loved writing. So like even in high school and stuff, I was like in special writing classes and like doing poetry and all that stuff. And like it really helped a lot, I feel, getting it down on paper.
Yeah.
Definitely. So in terms of creativity, I just kind of like lean into whatever I'm feeling. Because usually I feel as though I feel it very deeply.
Yeah.
And so I kind of have to pull it out. Otherwise, it's just going to fester and nobody likes that.
Yeah. In terms of this day and age too, I feel like it's hard for people like us, 'cause I'm a writer as well. And I feel like it's kind of hard because I've seen that you've had to play the singles game. And it's hard because, you know, with people like us, you being able to write, you've been able to do the stuff that you're able to do. Like, you want to have that album, you know what I'm saying, to kind of tell that story for you. Has that been kind of hard, not being able to kind of like, in this era, like, it's kind of like you want to drop an album, but you can't, like, do you have pressure to just keep dropping singles and kind of wait for that album to come?
So definitely my next goal is to release an EP. Currently, I'm just hopping on the feature train. I'm like, whatever's going to get me a wider network of people. Yeah, audience. But I don't. People's attention spans are so short these days, especially with social media and everything. I was literally just talking to Don about how like the sweet spot for songs is like just under 2 minutes or 2 minutes long. Anything over 2 minutes, unless it's a bop, people don't really have the attention span for it. So full albums, I do have a little bit of anxiety thinking of like creating a body of work, but like a 3-song EP sounds like it's a nice little short story, you know?
I mean, in terms of that too, I think just in terms of working and doing all that stuff in terms of the 3-song EP and stuff, it's just, it's sad because that's why I had to leave rap, because I'm a wordsmith. So, you know, I feel like a lot of times as of right now, you know, you're freestyling, you're doing all this stuff, they're not really paying attention to what you're doing or to what you're saying. So in terms of the 3-song EP, you worked with Don recently on One of Them Days. You did the remake. I just heard you in the studio. It sounded good. So is there any like timetable on when the EP's coming out, or what are we working on right now?
My goal for the year is literally to write it. Like I'm not going to put any pressure on myself because I'm not going to lie, 2022 was my 27th year. You know, the 27 Club, the Saturn Return, it has been one of the hardest years of my life. But musically, I've been thriving. Everything else, hard as fuck. And so, like, I'm really trying to take it easy on myself because I have been nothing but rude to me for the past year. And, like, for going through things that, like, were a little bit difficult. And, like, you know, I need to give myself some space.
I think, you know, you kind of touched on that. You've touched on that a lot, like even in your TikTok and stuff. Like I've watched some of your TikToks that it's not always been easy for you. So tell me, like, is music in a way your own therapy? Like when you come here, you're finally able to get away from that stuff? Because I know with podcasting, doing what I'm doing now, when I was doing music, it's kind of like you're home away from home. So without music, would 27 even be harder? Like without creating and doing the stuff that you're doing right now?
I can't imagine what 27 would be like if I didn't have a hobby or a passion or something. Like I genuinely can't. I don't even want to think about that. For real. No.
Wow.
It's been tough. But we're moving.
I mean, yeah, I think I'm just nervous right now because I'm 26 and everybody tells me that. Like, I think 27, 28 is kind of like the cutoff of when you start realizing shit's about to get real. Like, you need to kind of get it all together because by 30, you kind of want to.
And that's the pressure that society brings to us because realistically, we know so many people who've lived past 100. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think what really happens, and so this is me getting into astrology. Go ahead. Do what you gotta do. So your Saturn returns. Saturn is the planet of, like, you know, where you're going, what you're like, purpose. It's what you're doing with your life. So when you get to this moment, it is a lot of existential crisis. Like, am I going in the direction that I want to go in? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And like, it's so much questioning. And like, I feel even though I have all of these things outside of just like me going in the right direction, internally, I'm like, I'm fucking up. I'm like, I'm not doing enough. I'm like lazy, like just so hard on myself. And like, I think that's a lot of, but 420, I'm turning 28, so we can just move past that.
Well, 421, I'm turning 26, so we said
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday. But it's kind of crazy that you just said all that, because today I woke up. All right, I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. I try to sugarcoat shit for the people. I'm a custodian, right, at a middle school, like before this. And I woke up today, I'm like, man, I'm fucking up in life. Like, everything that's going on right now is not happening. I need this shit to go. And I was telling my dad, I'm like, this podcast shit, it has to work. The music shit didn't work. The basketball shit didn't work. I'm like, this shit needs to go. And he looked at me, he said, you guys place so much emphasis on time, and time is of the essence. It's not a virtue. You know what I'm saying? You have to just keep going with time and keep getting better and keep getting better. So my question to you is that, with time, how much do you think your music will get better? How much will you learn about yourself within this? Because I feel like in terms of your music, the more and more I listen, it seems like you've gotten better and better. How much do you want to develop over time with this?
Yeah. So to that, I feel like time is relative, because I don't think I could be doing what I'm doing right now when I was younger. Yeah. Even though I want to sit here and be like, I wish I did this earlier. I don't know if I would have been ready. I don't know if I would be in the same headspace. Like, I'm clearly here right now for a reason. And so, yeah, I mean, like, I do want to keep getting better. I mean, you can only get better. You can always learn and like keep it moving, but like, it's when you stop trying to get better that like that's when time starts catching up.
Yeah. So, like I said, when I did my homework, I also found another thing kind of interesting. Yeah, like I found something that was interesting, that you've been singing for like forever, like doing covers, doing all that stuff, but you didn't start taking it seriously until like your later 20s. And obviously we talked about the confidence thing and stuff, but also where you're from. I'm gonna be honest. It's kind of a artsy fartsy type of place. Were you just always nervous to go into a studio over there, or was it just like you just didn't feel like you had it? Like,
so I think when I was growing up, we did a lot of like hipster type music, and like I was definitely more of a rock person, like covering Paramore, that type of stuff. But I was also like, I was very flaky back in the day because I have social anxiety. Yeah. And it was really bad when I was younger. So I would just kind of like try to set things up, and then I would flake. And then after a while, you get that reputation. No one really like wants to work with you or like try to work with you, because they're like, well, she's just going to cancel. Why the fuck would I like put that effort into it? And like, I completely understand that. Like, I still jam with people that I used to jam with in high school, but it's different. Like, I'm not working with them. I had to go outside of my hometown to actually find people to work with, because I think it was more incentive if I had to like go drive like an hour away, and I made that plan sort of thing. For some reason, that was like different for me in my head than like I go down the street and make a song. I'm like, I'm gonna just stay in my room today. I don't really want to go out, kind of thing. Yeah.
I think a lot of times too, like when I first started rapping, I know definitely what started happening with me was when you're around, like I was around the dude that I've known for like 20 years, like your friend. And when you start rapping together and you're in this studio and you're trying to rap, it becomes a lot of pressure. Like you start feeling it. It starts building up and building up. I have social anxiety myself. So you're like in the booth and you're trying to figure this out. You're trying to do everything at once. And you're like, damn, man, this dude's whooping my ass right now. This verse is coming out crazy. And I know I'm going to go in there and stink this shit up. Like my verse is nowhere near his. So definitely, yeah, I feel that. In terms of your career and where you're at and stuff, I also see that you've done a lot of different stuff in terms of like you want to do movies and stuff like that. You've been in theater. So tell me, have you ever thought of maybe like writing a screenplay and implementing your music in it? Like, has that been something?
That is so crazy that you're actually asking me that, because yes, literally this past month I was like, I wrote a song that is like kind of a witch song. Right. And when I listened to it, I'm like, this could be on, it felt like more of like something that I would submit to like a publishing company than like as a single or something. Yeah. And then I was like, what if I wrote? And then I came up with an idea and I was like, I should start writing this down. Yeah. And then, yeah, that's crazy that you're asking me that.
Well, no, because I find it interesting when people can go into all different types of elements. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. I don't want, but if I do that, this interview gonna go totally reverse. I'm gonna be laying down on this couch. But I think it's always interesting to me when people could go into different arenas. You know what I'm saying? Like people cannot. It's not only just music. It's theater. It's all that different type of stuff as well. Modeling. Tell me about that a little bit. How has that been? Because I know sometimes that's a little bit rough. That area is a little bit tougher. So tell me, you kind of want to touch on all aspects. How has that been going? How the bookings been going? Everything.
I feel like I definitely get asked to do shoots frequently, but I am so not confident as a model. Like, I have walked in shows and it was so annoying. It wasn't annoying. It was flattering, but it was terrifying. I got asked to walk in a show and then all of a sudden I got like 4 different brands being like, okay, so you're gonna walk for this one, and then you're gonna walk for this one. And I was like, you guys know I've never done this before, right? Yeah. And they were like, yeah, it's fine. I was the first person to walk in the fucking show. I was like, oh, man. But luckily people were like, you just seem like you've been doing it for so long. Cause I feel like I got a point on the wall and I was like, I'm not looking at anybody. I was so scared. But modeling is fun, but it's definitely hard. I look at real models and I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, what are you? I mean, I don't know. I'm like, are they taking classes? Or they just like practice? I don't fucking know.
But that's the thing that strikes me so crazy about you is you're so like it just gets to me because it's like when I saw you perform twice, it's like how do you have like, let me ask you this. You obviously have your regular self. Is Teja Cat like that alter ego like Beyonce has Sasha Fierce? Is that like a whole nother person, like just a whole nother side of you?
No. So Teja is me, 1000%. Like I can't not be myself. And I think that like my artist just like makes me more comfortable with being me because like as an artist you want to try to break through the noise, and I have found that like I vibe with people. Like I love talking to people, getting to know people, really like connecting and stuff, and I feel like that's just what I want to do, you know what I mean? So I try to like really hone it, and I'm not like, obviously I have my days where I'm like, don't fucking talk to me, like don't look at me, I can't, but I try to be as authentic as I can. Obviously there's some parts where it's like, okay, you're being extra, but like that's usually after the Tito's and like
yeah, that's the thing about YTH and everybody in the studio. Man, last time I was here, I did an interview. Last time I did the Don interview, man, I had secondhand smoke like a motherfucker. I didn't know what the fuck was going on for like the last half hour. I was looking around that bitch like, ooh, shit. Okay, here we are. You know what I'm saying? I'm in front of Don ZOP, nervous in the motherfucker. But in terms of, everything that you have going on and stuff, making the trip from CT from Boston, just tell me how, that has been like developing this relationship with YTH and even making that trip, because that must mean a lot to them. It must mean a lot to you that they're even taking somebody in from there and that, you come all the way here to support them. Like, just tell me what this relationship has been like and what this vibe has been like.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of mutual respect there for sure. But I think I very much appreciate everything that he's put me onto. And so like doing these trips and stuff, like it feels like I'm repaying the favor, because like I feel like he's putting me on to like a lot of stuff. Like even this like right now I'm like, I feel like it's the least I can do to come out and support from time to time, because like obviously I can't make it every Monday, but like I make it when, like I try to make it and like be there when I can. Like when he hit me up, I was like, it was so crazy. Like I was already kind of in the area with another artist making a song, and I was like, this is perfect. Like it was just like fate on, like, honestly.
And you know, it's kind of crazy to me too, because I appreciate you for even coming out, because I know what that trip is like. You know what I'm saying? And when I got here, I was just like, man, like, it's everybody makes fun of me so far with this podcast shit, because they're like, yo, you can't interview girls for shit. Like there's something about you, like you're mad nervous all the time, like when you interview girls. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this, and then they're like, oh, well, she's from this part. I'm like, man, what the fuck y'all got me doing, man? Like I'm already nervous already. I already have social anxiety as it is. Like fuck. But you know, in terms of everything else, you know, like I say, your singles, your music, all that different type of stuff. What is it that Teja is looking for in life right now, that to excel within life? The music shit aside, like what are you looking for to excel within yourself? I think that's a big question for me.
So, I think the biggest thing I'm working on is like getting rid of self-doubt. That is something that like holds me back so much, and I feel like I don't know, like I was talking to him and I was like, I just feel like I keep getting lucky. And he's like, obviously that's not the case, because like he XYZ whatever, and I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. But like I don't know if I believe it. I feel like I keep getting lucky, but that's like the self-doubt being like, girl, like I mean, like I feel like I've worked pretty hard this past year, and like I don't know, maybe I deserve it, maybe I don't know.
I mean, listen, we both here right now, and I can tell you I feel the same way. You know, Nate Nasty, who's in there right now, that's my cousin. That's my mother's godson. So when it comes to me, he was like, even when he called me for this interview, he's like, bro, you got to stop doubting yourself. You got to just go in there and do what the fuck you got to do, and da-da-da-da. And sometimes you need that real talk. Like, I know Don is in there not sugarcoating shit to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's telling you straight up, like, hey, yo, you got to do this, you got to do that. So, you know, in terms of self-doubt, you know, how much of your music in terms of that will, you know, how do I word this? Oh boy, I'm losing my shit. That the weed is starting to hit me. Damn, that shit's starting to give me secondhand. Fuck. Yeah. I'm like, man. But in terms of self-doubt, this is what I was gonna say. You know, I feel like a lot of times in music and performing and everything like that, you know, you're working on it, you're trying to do it. But in terms of self, where do you feel like in terms of music? Oh my God, bro, what the fuck is going on? All right, calm down. Jesus Christ. All right, in terms of self.
If it makes you feel better, I'm high as fuck.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, damn, shit, that shit smacked the fuck out of me. God damn. Like, I'm trying to get like deep, and it's like not working. It's like, I'm like, shit, okay. All right. All right. I'm like, all right. But, oof. Damn, all right. They're passing it. There's like, we got a crowd around, like, we got a crowd around us and shit. I'm like, damn, fuck. All right. I know, I'm like, fuck.
See, I would have never thought you were like nervous to start.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, you talk about self-doubt, you looking at the fucking face of it. If you want to look at the dictionary and see it, like, it is what it is. But, all right, let's.
I feel like it's funny that it really, I feel like people think that I have it together. But, like, I am such a mess, like, most of the time.
Well, that was the thing with me, like, coming in. I'm like, damn, like, I was like, I don't fucking know, because it seems like to me, like, she got the whole shit together, the whole shebang, the life.
No. No, I'm a mess, for sure. I have my things. I just, like, you know, I feel like growing up as, like, a sort of defense mechanism, I always just kind of, like, kept it pushing. Like, I don't really let people see what's going on. But I just, like, I do want to level with everyone. Like, self-doubt is a bitch. And, like, you just gotta, just don't let them know.
That's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying not to look, nobody knows, right? But in terms of also, so this is what I also had to ask you. In terms of growing up in Southport, like I said, it's an artsy fartsy type of town, stuff like that. It's more of a suburban area, you're gonna have to start hitting the inner cities in terms of making your career better. Has that ever made you nervous to like go into Boston and perform and stuff like that, and go into New York and stuff like that? Because I know coming from suburbia where I used to live, when I hit my first stage at SOBs, I literally almost folded. Like I was like, man, fuck this shit. You're not putting me out there in front of these 100 people. You guys could keep that fucking microphone. You could keep the 500 I just had. I don't care. So is there any self-doubt in that, like going out into these bigger crowds and stuff?
Actually, no. For some reason, I know I'm like,
Make it feel
and
worse.
they self down.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a lot more. I mean, Boston's hard.
Yeah.
Boston is cold. I feel like I get a lot of love outside of Boston for sure. But coming from like a small town, I feel like I was really excited to get out of that sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. It was more like anticipation to like meet new people. As much as like there is some anxiety, but like I don't know. When the vibe's right, the vibe's right. And I feel like with music, the vibe has been right recently. So I'm like, it feels nice. Yeah.
I think that's also been with me, being an artist here. It's funny how you say that you left, and I'm very interested in that because you left and you got support. You know what I'm saying? And I've always felt like maybe I need to leave here to get support because I feel like when I perform at these Hartford stages and stuff, it's a bunch of blank faces. Like it seems like you look out to the crowd and it's like nobody cares. Is that what you felt over there sometimes? Like in Mass where you're like, we'll be out there and you're like, this producer ain't really rocking with me. This person ain't really doing that. Is it that type of vibe? And then when you came here, it's a lot more love?
Well, so I think a big thing for me is I do a lot of stuff alone. Right. So like YTH, I went by myself. Right. So I like had to make friends, and I feel like in most settings that's kind of what I just throw myself into the fire because I'm like, I mean, I don't want to ever bother people. I don't want to be like, hey, can you come to my show? And like, because it was like 2 hours away, and I was like, I don't know. But, I mean, it worked out for the best, of course. But I think the key is like really getting to know the crowd beforehand. Yeah. I have definitely like experienced the blank face, and it's like, y'all suck. Like, what is the vibe here? I don't know. It feels more like a them problem, to be honest. I'm like, I'm just trying to dance. You guys are not. Yeah, you're not okay.
I mean, in terms,
I feel like usually that's like just a general like if it's for one, it's usually for multiple. Perfect. It doesn't like feel. Yeah.
In terms of that, throwing yourself into the fire by yourself, I've had to do that a couple times. When I went and met them, I did that. Deja and Dre Guy, who are here, who are literally carrying this shit for me right now. I don't know where the fuck I'd be without them. But in terms of doing it by yourself, it was hard for me to start inviting like collaborators and stuff like that and producers and stuff. Has that been hard for you in the creative process? Like having maybe Don come in and tweak something, have Black come in. I mean, I don't know if he's writing stuff or whatever, but I know he writes. Or having writers and stuff, has that been hard for you? Because I feel like sometimes we're so, in terms of writers, we're like, this is our shit, don't touch it, don't do nothing with it, and we hold it so close to our heart. Has that been something that's hard for you, like allowing people in as a in a creative space?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I have only ever like actually sang on something that someone has written for me one time. Wow. Okay. I don't know. Yeah.
So you're like the home studio type. Like this is all me. Like I don't care about, I can't allow anybody.
Beats and stuff. I can't do that. I wish I could do that. But I like, as far as like features and stuff, like I like building off of people, but it's like I want it to be my own. Otherwise, I don't really feel it as much. Like the one song that I actually like sang over that was written for me was about weed. So I was like, all right, this actually sounds like me. So I will just do this.
So I've heard about you that you're like a weed connoisseur, so we can get into that. 'Cause I'm not much of a smoker, but I have heard that it helps you in the creative process a lot of times. Have you ever thought? I always hear like people nowadays think about stopping or they think about doing it more in terms of the creative process. How has, how have you ever thought about maybe stopping and then like trying to write and stuff like that, or it's just like something you do on a regular?
So, I actually don't smoke like up to a week before a performance. And like for important studio sessions, I try not to smoke for like 48 hours. I don't smoke before writing ever. I feel like I appreciate just having like a clear mind. The only time, like, I mean, like if I drink, it's a little bit different.
It's a little different.
For the
Okay.
boot, that's like to like calm the nerves. I'll have like one drink, but I don't do that for performances either. I raw dog that shit.
I think that's like I don't know if it's for you because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we have the same. I'm kind of perplexed talking to you because I'm like I really felt like you had it all together. I'm like sitting here. I'm like it threw me off a little bit. But in terms of that, in terms of raw dogging it, how much more do you feel like of the experience do you get while raw dogging it? Because I feel like in terms of me, like I was such a shy and nervous kid. Like you could ask Black the first time he had Live and Lit. I was literally back there and I was like crying. Like I could not go on stage. And they threw me out there and I just did what I had to do. So how much do you think you learned from just raw dogging in these experiences and just going out there plain Jane, clean and just doing what you got to do?
Yeah, so growing up, like in middle school and high school, I was the same. Like I would get like hives
Yeah, me too.
the night before, and then like the whole day of, I would be freaking out and I would cry before, and like I wouldn't want to do it, and I'd be so scared. And then I would do it and I would love it because like once I was up there and in front of everyone, and like, it was, I don't know, it was just different. I was like, okay, fine. We're all here together.
Yeah.
You're not like, I don't know, it's different. But now, like my first performance, I was really nervous. But as soon as I'm on stage, I'm like, you have to like give it your all, or what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean?
I think in terms of that, I feel like I've felt that too. Like if I'm not, and you know what's so weird is you'll have those experiences where you're so fucking scared to go on and then you're on and it's like you want to be the fucking number one performer of the night. And that's the weirdest part to me. It's like that duality type of thing. So tell me in terms of performing and all that different type of stuff, I do want to ask you, when you're able to finally bring that like Sasha Fierce out, which part of the creative process do you like the most? Like, do you like writing the most and you can bring that Sasha Fierce out, performing, modeling? Like, which medium do you like the most where you can bring that duality side out?
Definitely writing and performing. Those are like when I write something that I feel like is fire and I hit the booth and it sounds fire, I'm also extremely competitive. So like I try to go in the booth and body it every time. Otherwise I'm like just fucking scratch. I don't even listen to it after. I'm like it's just a shame,
Yeah.
But and then performing is just like it's just a whole vibe. You're like partying with everybody. That's why I like it the most, I think, cuz it's like I said, I love to party. So when I'm on there, I'm like everybody.
For real. But listen, I'm just gonna ask you, what's next for Teja Cat? Like, what's going on? Like, when are we gonna see more of you? Like, what's going on right now in terms of your work, your working process, and what can we see more of you like coming soon?
So I think I'm working on a few different visual things. I'm working on a few more features, but ultimately, like my next release is gonna be an EP. Okay. I don't really want to do any singles until I have that ready to go, and Within the next year. Like I said, I'm not putting a timeline on anything. I'm not putting pressure on myself. I'm trying to like just do the best that I can right now. Yeah.
And tell everybody where they could find you at.
So you can find me on Instagram at TejaCat or TikTok Teja_cat. And all streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, it's Teja, Teja. You can look up Waste My Time or Too Much, SFF. And on YouTube.
Basically everywhere. Listen, this has been the Standout Podcast where anyone could be a standout. I'm stupid high right now. I almost fucked up this whole interview. I just want to thank Teja Cat from coming all the way from Massachusetts to fuck with me. It means a lot. You know what I'm saying? I'm new to this game. Hopefully you see me more. Hopefully I don't get high and float away somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But once again, I want to thank Dilly for allowing me in his studio. I got Fluff in the building with me. I got Deja, Dre God, the Pod Lounge. You already know what it is. 171 Orange Street, New Haven, Connecticut. Go get your podcast done. Yeah, Teja Cat, stand out. Bow.
Thank you.
Peace.